I'm John Skinner, and this supports my book Fishing for Summer Flounder, Fluke Jigging from Shore Boat and Kayak, and you can learn more about the book at flounderbook.com. This is the rig I'll be using in the video. At the bottom I have an 1.5 ounce S&S bucktail tipped with a 5-inch Berkley Gulp Alive swimming mullet. 1 foot above that is a 6-inch Gulp Grub on a 5/0 Gamakatsu bait holder hook and a Tsunami hollow teaser. So this is the second half of a trip I was making in my new boat. It's actually a new old boat, but new for me nonetheless. Now the first part of the trip was in a video I posted about a week before this one. It was called something like Insane Fluke Flounder Jigging Action. It really was insane. It was non-stop, what we call lock and load. You drop to the bottom, you hook up, you have a fish. And I went through, I don't know, easily 50 to 70 fish. And we can only keep 3 above 19 inches. I kept my 3, had 1 extra one that I threw back. But that was 90 minutes of fishing, and I didn't want to go in. So I decided to make a 10-mile run to fish some waters closer to home. And I've moved recently, so I'm exploring some new waters. And here's the first fish in this new spot. I'd only been there about 20 minutes, and this one was much bigger than any of the ones I caught on the first part of the trip. Definitely over 5 pounds, a real quality fluke. And you see me hitting the GPS right away there because I've got no marks on this area whatsoever. I know that they catch fish in this general area. I wasn't sure of the depth. I pretty much went there. I have a Navionics chip in my Humminbird fish finder that gives me the chart, so I look for contour lines, set up on one of those, and yeah, roughly, I don't know, 15-20 minutes into the first drift, I got this one. Now look at this. That's the bait it spit up. That was a porgy, and that's the difference between where I'm fishing on this part of the trip and where I was previously. Where I was previously was all sand eels, and I was using actually that white rod that's in the corner rod holder with 4-inch Berkley Gulp Alive swimming mullets. And now that I've moved here, I know that this kind of an area has structure, it has rocks, and I know that the fish are going to be less plentiful. The sand eels are not here. However, there are larger baits, and those porgies are a prime example of the larger baits that these larger fish will feed on. Now, given the presence of larger fish feeding on larger bait, I've upped the size on my gulps, and instead of using the 4-inch swimming mullets that I use very heavily just 10 miles from here, I've moved up to the 6-inch Gulp Grub, and that is a big bait. And on the bucktail, I've got a 5-inch Gulp Alive swimming mullet. So I've upped the size, and yeah, like I said, I'm fishing for less but bigger fish here, and I think, you know, putting those larger baits down, presenting a bigger profile, gives you a chance to get these larger fish like this. And you know, this one's bigger than the first one I got here, and it figures I've got you know, quite a bit smaller fish in the cooler, and both of these are going to have to go back. You see again, taking a mark because you know, these are the first 2 marks I've got in this area on my fish finder. And yeah, this is a learning process for me. I'm in about 30 feet of water. I'm not even sure if this is the right contour line to be on here. It's looking good to me so far, so I'm happy to get some marks into that GPS and do a little catch and release. Look at the belly on that fish. Clearly, that one's got at least 1 porgy, maybe more in it. So they're down there chowing down on those porgies. So I'm often asked, well, why don't you use these bigger baits all the time and try to cull out bigger fish with them? And if you were to watch the first half of this trip on that previous video that I posted, yeah, you know, I've tried to upsize the baits, and it just does not make a difference. There's so many smaller fish on the bottom. It just becomes a cull job. You go down there, you catch a lot of fish, and you know, you hope that the numbers work in your favor, and you know, you certainly get your limit. And yeah, and every once in a while you do get a 5 or 6 pounder there, but I've not had success going to the larger baits there, trying to cull larger fish. Pretty much, I put the larger baits on, I catch the same size fish that I catch on the 4-inch grubs. And yeah, if you want to look at economics, those 4-inch grubs cost a lot less than the larger ones. So yeah, I stick with the 4s. back to the western spot that I was fishing on the first half of this trip, and yeah, I'll use the bigger stuff here. Again, any marks I can get. I'm really trying to learn this. So you see that rope in the water. I've got a drift control sock out. The wind, the breeze has been picking up and dropping back, and so I've put it out, try to slow the drift down. Yeah, this looked like another good one, and it turned out not to be a fluke, but it's a really nice fish. All right, so the rod is a 6.5 foot Tsunami Classic rated 10 to 20 pound test line. The reel's a Quantum Accurus spooled with 15 pound test spider wire ultracast. My leader material is, in this case, 25 pound test fluorocarbon. There's a loop at the bottom for the bucktail, a dropper loop 1 foot above that for the teaser. And there's a video on my YouTube channel that shows exactly how to tie that rig. So this is a beautiful sea bass. But it's out of season, so it's going to have to go back. But it's a real nice one. I did get a couple others, not this size, but a couple others in the same spot. So I'll be back here when the season opens. Yeah, beautiful fish. Yeah, it slipped out of my hands here. Not a very graceful release, but yeah, the rod kind of broke its fall, so no damage done to anything. That was an otter-tailed bait strip on the bucktail that nice sea bass hit. Alright, so my first trip in the new boat turned out to be a real winner. Had 4 legal fluke back on the first spot that was on the previous video, and had 5 on this spot, and 4 of them were nice ones and a couple of really nice ones. So that's good, because yeah, you know, first time out in a new boat, you're wondering how it handles and how it drifts and everything else, and needless to say, I'm real pleased. So I fished here about 2 hours, only caught 7 fluke. But 5 were keepers, and 4 of them were nice, and 2 of them were really nice. So, yep, just a different fishery than what I had back in the other spot. All right, if you haven't seen it, I would encourage you to go up on my channel and watch that, the first part of this trip on that, what was entitled Insane Action. And it's quite a difference. You move 10 miles, and you know, it's a completely different fishery. So, all right, I hope you found this helpful, and if you enjoy these videos, please subscribe to my channel.